Arshpreet Karyal, respond to this. Two points being raised by the ruling party, and the fact that, one, the boycott during foundation stone laying ceremony, you're saying that was COVID, going to court, the kind of prices that were quoted for the Prime Minister's palace, as was said, which is not, as facts were bearing it out later, the Prime Minister's house is not a part of this phase of the project. It's the building and the central vista. So was the opposition being, one, economical with the truth? Two, if you are representing that part of the population, are you not being unfair to them by, one, not attending the foundation stone laying ceremony, two, not being there on Constitution Day, sir?
See, the BJP has clearly failed to understand one thing, that there are times when you have to prioritize. If people are dying, you cannot be focusing upon a building. You have to focus upon all those people. When there were lakhs and crores of people suffering, we understand your priorities are different. You are prioritizing yourself over people. It's not really your fault. You don't understand otherwise. And second of all, it was Nehru ji that had chosen Ashoka, the symbol. So do we say that BJP shouldn't have hosted it in the first place? Should we say that the BJP does not have any right to be a part of the, to even come into the parliament because it was us who had bought in democracy for India? So these kind of arguments can only come through the BJP party because that is how they think, but we don't think that way. We think India and the parliament belongs to the people of India, 150 crore people, not alone to the BJP. And second of all, you take an example of anywhere in the world, all the parliaments, whenever they are inaugurated, whenever there is an unveiling that is happening, all the opposition, all the government, everybody is invited.
No, but when, the point that is being raised, Arshpreet, the point that is being raised is when invited, you don't show up.
See, I have already told you that back in the day, the priorities were different. People were suffering. We couldn't have chosen a building over all.
Constitution Day, Rahul Srivastava.
May I just conclude, Rahul? So second point is that you take an example of India also. Whenever a Vidhan Sabha assembly has been inaugurated, unveiling has to happen, we have always invited both the sides. If there's our government, I don't understand how the BJP functions and why does every time partisan politics have to, take over. Why can't they understand that some things are above politics? There are things, wherein you have to respect the democracy, wherein you have to respect the value of it, and you can't, basically encroach over everything. So the BJP party must understand one thing. Parliament is not your personal property. It belongs to India and the people of India. And by ignoring all these opposition leaders, you have ignored the people of India, which is against the law and also impropriety. They have probably not read the constitution. That how
Rahul Srivastava, has the Speaker's office, or you've been speaking to a cross-section of members of Parliament, how have they responded to the points being raised both by Asaduddin Owaisi and by the Congress party?
Gaurav, I think, it's a very fractured kind of a mandate if you talk to MPs, both sides. But I would like to bring certain facts about Parliament because, Gaurav, what I know that there are a lot of media men who go to Parliament and a lot of MPs who go to Parliament and a lot of political persons who go to Parliament but don't know anything about the Parliament. I think they should take a tour of Parliament. Why I say that? One, there is no written rule that anything inside Parliament presence has to be inaugurated by the Speaker. That's one objection. If you go back in the history, way back on the 28th of July 1956, it is Jawaharlal Nehru as Prime Minister who inaugurated the Central Hall picture of Lokmanya Tilak. So there is no such precedent. It has been the Presidents, Vice Presidents, Prime Ministers like Manmohan Singh who inaugurated Gyani Gurmukh Musafir statue, bust. Public Parliament Library Foundation stone was laid by Rajiv Gandhi on the 15th of August 1987. The Parliament Annex building, the old one, if you recall, 1975, Indira Gandhi is the one who inaugurated it. So there is no such precedence. The second important fact, which I have spoken to people in the Speaker's office, right now the new building of Parliament is under construction. Till the Parliament building, the Speaker is the boss of the Presidents of Parliament. But till the building is not handed over to him by the government, right now it is under the Urban Development Ministry, and that is why the Prime Minister, as the boss of the Urban Development Ministry, as the Prime Minister, has a right to inaugurate or unveil several elements. Otherwise, Gaurav, there is no fixed rule. Yes, it is a precedence where the speaker gets a precedence over prime ministers and the presidents in the house. But the fact remains that there is no written rule. And if there is a rule, then there are Jawaharlal Nehru, Indira Gandhi, Rajiv Gandhi, Atal Bihari Vajpayee, and every other prime minister is a violator.
Okay.